Hey everyone, welcome to my first video on the channel. I am Lucia and we're gonna talk about a case that's haunted the public consciousness for years. The case of Madeleine McCann, a little girl who disappeared almost 2 decades ago. And to set the tone, I will be doing my skincare while we talk about the chilling story. So I wanted to create a community in which you could feel relaxed after work or after studying. While we talk about the most chilling stories. So I always had a fascination for about this type of cases. So I thought of creating a community in which I show my two favorite things, which is skincare and the true crime. So grab your favorite skincare products and let's dive into this chilling mystery while we glow through the chaos. So for those who might not be familiar with the case of Madeleine McCann, Madeleine McCann was just 3 years old when she vanished from a holiday apartment in Praia da Luz in Portugal back in May of 2007. Anne was born on May 2003 in Leicester, England. She was the oldest of 3 children. So one notable feature that likely made that case famous is that she had coloboma right in her eye. So that means a small gap or line beneath the pupil. So it's a very rare condition. But the important factors of her family is that her mother worked as an anesthetist for a time before specializing in internal medicine. And her father, on the other hand, has been a consultant cardiologist since 2005. So this will come important later in the story. That's why I'm telling you this. But I just wanted to dive in first on the important factors of the family. Okay, so Praia da Luz is a popular destination, often referred as Little England, because many English tourists visited this regularly. So the McCann family arrived there on April 28 of 2007 with 3 other families with all which they were all friends, and they brought their children also. So it was the second of 2 last day on their holiday when around 7 p.m. the Madeleine McCann's mother decided to put the children to sleep. So the parents usually went to dinner around 8:30, so that's why leaving the children sleeping, since the restaurant, it was only like 55 meters away. So they were all in the same block of apartments. They liked this location, as I said, because they had visibility of the apartments. Still, they made sure all the doors were closed, especially the patio doors, but they were left unlocked, so anyone could actually enter and leave when they wanted. So while at the dinner, they took turns checking on the children every around 30 minutes. So the father made the first check around 9:05 p.m. So they found everything completely the same. Just he remembered leaving the door slightly open, but when he returned, the whole door was open. So he found that suspicious, obviously. However, at 10 p.m. when Kate McCann went to check on the children, Madeleine McCann was gone. She just disappeared completely. It was as she vanished into thin air. So from that moment on, things started obviously to get complicated. So the mother ran to the group and the group of people, and she said, Madeleine isn't here. She has been taken. Which a lot of people believe was suspicious, obviously, since that would not be the first thing you say when your child has disappeared. So they searched everywhere, bed, closet, asked the neighbors, checked the pool. They basically checked everywhere, but they found nothing. So after alerting the police, the mother told them that she had found the doors and windows open. So for that night, like a very large scale security operation was set up, including the use of dogs, but nothing was actually found. So the investigation quickly began, but as we know, nothing was ever clear since we're talking about this mystery right now. Several theories emerged, and many of them focused on the idea that something sinister had happened to her. There were a few key hypotheses that the police considered early on, and these theories are part of what made the case so confusing and unsettling. So, why isn't this resolved? So, there were several mistakes that were made in the most crucial time, that are like the first 24 to 48 hours after the disappearance. One major mistake was that for many hours the police did not receive a description of Madeleine McCann, which prevented them from doing house to house in searches. So also they didn't block off the area until 10 hours later. If someone had kidnapped her, they could have easily taken her without any interference. Additionally, the Interpol did not issue a global alert until like 5 days later, sorry. Investigators later stated that many people were never interviewed and the crime scene was never properly secured. So this meant that when they tried to collect DNA samples, they couldn't, because approximately like 20 people had been in and out of the apartment. So a day later, police began securing the area, but what for now? And also, they didn't secure like the doors or anything else, so everyone could actually go in and out all the time. This meant that when they tried to collect the DNA samples, they couldn't, because approximately like 20 people had been in and out of the apartment. So a day later, police began securing the area, but they didn't secure any doors or anything else. So this apartment was only sealed off for a month also, which is what? And then it was reopened for tourists to go in and out the apartment. But in August of 2007, it was finally closed again to gather more evidence, which it doesn't make any sense now, because why did you close it and then open it after? Like, it makes zero sense, because now the whole investigation is ruined. Also, a police officer tried to take samples from the window, which was believed to be the point of where the abductor may have become into the room, but he didn't wear any gloves, the police officer. So also that evidence was ruined. So basically nothing was done right. So let's start with the most likely theory, which is the abduction. It's one that seemed the most logical at first. Madeleine was taken from her bed by someone who had planned it out, basically. A kidnapper who may have been watching the apartment for days or knew the area well, which was a lot of people. So, in fact, there were reports of strange men seen in the area that night. A neighbor had reported seeing men carrying a child on the night of her disappearance. And also, another neighbor or another witness claimed to have seen a man, this is a different person, lurking around the McCann's apartments. So, what happens with this theory? The police obviously did not jump into conclusions. They kept the abduction theory in mind, but there were a few things that didn't add up. So, for example, for one, there were no signals of forced entry. But as we said before, all the doors were open, basically. They were closed but not locked, so everyone could go in. So that's why probably there were no forced entry. Also, the window in the McCann's apartment had been left open. Oops. Had been left open, but not in a way that suggested someone had broken in. So if an abductor was involved, how did they get in so quietly? That would be the main question. That was the first theory. So next we are gonna talk about the second theory, which is the theory that basically caused a lot of media attention. That's why this case is so famous. And that was the idea that the McCanns themselves were involved, so the family members. And in every case that we talk about, when someone disappeared, the first thing that they looked at is family. So at first it was basically normal behavior. So this was suggested after the police initially made the McCanns suspects in 2007. The theory was that the McCanns had accidentally caused Madeleine death and then staged the abduction to cover it up. This theory is not very common because who would kill their kids just because? So this actually theory became, well, we have to think that this was 2007. So this theory became one the police brought like a sniffer dogs, and they brought two of them. So one dog trained to detect the blood and another trained to detect like cadavers alerted in the apartments because they did a whole search in the apartment. So the blood dog detected a scent right underneath Madeleine McCann's bed, so where she was sleeping, which obviously raised suspicion. Additionally, after Madeleine McCann's disappearance, the McCanns rented a car just to move because they stayed there for like a month, I believe. So obviously the sniffer dog, the one of the cadaver dog, started sniffing all around the car. So the dog detected some odor in right like the trunk of the car. So this led someone to believe that the child might have been killed and then put on the bag to throw somewhere. So the theory was that the parents may have sedated the children since she was an anesthetist to make sure they slept through the night so they could enjoy dinner without worrying a lot because the nights before, for example, they would be annoyed and all that. So they just put them to sleep with a little bit of drugs. So, however, they maybe, this is what the theory thinks, they might have miscalculated the dosage, which is, in my opinion, very not likely, because if she was an anesthetist, she would know how much of the dosage she needs for that. So I don't think this happened. So this would lead to an overdose that accidentally killed Madeleine. So some even suggested that Madeleine failed and died after being, for example, disoriented from the drugs. She tried to find the parents, but she couldn't. So she fell somewhere and she died, and the parents hid the body. Some people also speculated that the family threw the body of Madeleine into the sea, and that's why she was lost forever. Which for me, this is a crazy theory, because if they really love their daughter that much as it's shown in videos and everything, I don't really think they threw her body out in the ocean just like that. So the McCanns were obviously interrogated, but they could never explain why biological traces were found in the apartment or why there was smell in the car. This theory was just left for dead, and they never actually went through with this. So later, the family left Portugal, and by 2008, the case was officially shelved due to the lack of evidence because they couldn't really find anything. So during this time, the McCanns launched a website for people who had suffered similar disappearances. So to continue their search for their daughters. So through this site, they've raised more than 1 million euros, which is massive, which they used to pay off the mortgage of the new mansion that they actually bought. So a lot of people found that very suspicious. Others claim that they spent around 11 million euros in efforts to find Madeleine. So they may believe that, many believe that if the McCanns actually had killed her, they wouldn't have spent so much in trying to find her. Like they would obviously end up just throwing the towel at one point, but they never did. So that's why I believe that this theory is not very logical. The reasoning of this theory was based on the police interpretation of the timeline of events. So the McCann's family and friends said that they had been checking on the children every 30 minutes, but the police felt there were inconsistencies in the timing of those checks. So they also pointed to the fact that the McCanns had hired a private investigator soon after Madeleine McCann went missing. So, which obviously, for me, it's not suspicious because the police in that age in Portugal was not being very effective. So I think if my daughters disappeared, I would probably have done the same. So for me, this is not suspicious. But many people thought that this was very suspicious. So, this theory, as you can see, has many opinions. So that's why this theory was so controversial. The McCanns were later cleared of any involvement. The police simply didn't have enough evidence to back it up. And most of the public believe it was a way for the authorities to distract them from the real investigation. Okay, so theory number 2, the theory of a child trafficking ring, which I believe with the abduction or the trafficking ring is the most logical options here. But this theory surfaced like a little later. So this idea suggests that Madeleine was taken by a well-organized group of people involved in child exploitation. So there were reports of similar disappearances in the area at the time, and some even believe that Madeleine was taken for a much darker purpose, like for adoption or to be sold into human trafficking. This is also believed because she was obviously a very like pretty kid, very cute, and also she had the normal thing in her eye which had made her different to any other babies, and she would probably be more expensive. This is what usually happens. So what's eerie about this theory is that there were a few recorded cases of very young children going missing in the area around that time. But once again, nothing was concrete ever. Nothing was ever solved in the investigation because the police could never ever confirm any ties to human trafficking. So this was left down in the open. And if this wasn't unsettling enough, there was another hypothesis that suggested like an inside job. Some theorists believe that some clues to the family might have been involved. This could have been friends or even staff members in the hotel. The thinking was that maybe someone who knew the family well took advantage of the situation. So the police did not dismiss this theory, but they didn't have much evidence to prove it either. The idea of an inside job was debated for years, but it was never definitely linked to the case. So, lastly, in 2020, German authorities publicly identified Christian Buckner, a German man with a criminal record, as suspected in Madeleine's disappearance. This is also one of the theories. So, Bruckner, who was living in Algarve, which is very close to where she disappeared, it's a region in Portugal around the time of Madeleine's disappearance. He was living there. So this German person had a history of child sexual abuse on and also other violent crimes. So authorities pointed to his movements in the area and his known criminal background. There were like, okay, this guy is definitely suspicious. He has been living here for a while, but this was in 2020, so they took their very sweet time to find this guy. So, why was Bruckner considered a suspect? So, investigator links Bruckner to the case because obviously he was living in the area Praia da Luz at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. So he had a history of criminal activity, including offenses related to children. So the police found that they had been in possession of items that could connect him to the crime, although specific evidence has not been made public. So they thought they found some stuff that could be similar to the case. So he probably, because in this mysteries, they always keep something from what they did like a while back. So they probably found something like that. But Bruckner had been convicted for other crimes, including the rape of a woman in Portugal in 2005, and also had been involved in theft and drug trafficking. His profile made him a person of interest since he was basically all the theories we just talked about. He basically is all of them. So, however, as of 2023, no conclusive evidence had been presented linking to Bruckner directly to the Madeleine abduction, but German authorities have not formally charged him in connection with her disappearance, though they maintain that they are still investigating, which this was in 2023, it's already 2025. So they're also taking a while to figure that out. So the problem with all the theories is that none of them offer concrete answers. No one actually knows what happened that night because they never found any conclusive evidences, since the police did not do the best job they could. No physical evidence, no clear suspect, just shadows and whispers of neighbors, people that were walking by. So it's a haunting mystery that continues to haunt the McCann family and the world at large, because I remember hearing about this story. I was like maybe 10, and I would see this girl's pictures all around the TV, and I would be like, oh, who is this little girl? Oh, she disappeared. I was 10, and that's when I started being a little intense with different cases. So we may never know what happened to Madeleine McCann because it's been 2 decades now, and that's something we all have to live with. So there you have it, the key theories behind her disappearance. A case filled with unanswered questions and theories that only they seem to multiply every single time, and every single year there comes another theory that might be it. But it's a stark reminder of how complex and confusing real life mysteries can be. So, if you want to hear more about cases like this, or maybe discuss other theories that have surfaced over time, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you found this video engaging, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I will see you in the next one.